But what I like about the service is that we're going to be able to record the lecture. I'm going to be able to share a YouTube link with you. So, you know, it really helps out to remember all these steps, because there are going to be a lot of practice steps in between. So you can always refer to the video, go back, and it's a pretty useful tool. So let's see if we can work this out.
So Google Hangouts, there's nothing going to be there. I mean, just your video.
Well, Google Hangouts is just the interface that allows me to record the video. That's basically what it is. Because I can share a screen and record the screen, basically.
Working?
And you're going to record the screen.
And I'm going to record the screen, basically. So let me see here. Present to for everyone. It's working fine, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Then let me see here. Chat, screen share. And then we're going to do screen 2. Sure.
Good.
Okay, and now we should be able to move this.
My God.
You know how it is. I don't know why it's doing that. This resolution is really gonna kill me.
And what should it be doing?
It should.
I'm sorry for the loss.
Brazil?
I think they got kicked out.
Shame that your team didn't win my team.
It should have win. It should have
That's
been
what I'm saying.
with
It's a
a real
shame.
goal. I know.
Yeah, it's a shame. It would have put us out of misery sooner, and that would be even better because, you know, that game was misery to me.
I understand that.
It seems that my team was not the only one that was having miserable time.
I think that that Dunga has to go home, buddy.
Oh, he has been fired.
Oh, he's been fired already.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been?
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He should have been fired a long time ago.
They got to do everything from zero. Start from zero.
Thank you for the lunch.
It's a little bit better. For whatever reason, I don't get to see the top of my screen. Must be a problem with the resolution. Do you know what resolution is recommended?
No idea.
Let me try something real quick and see if we can work this out. We need our Apple TV. That's what we need. Okay.
Next funding.
Funny enough, we were having a strategic plan meeting on research. And
Today,
right? Just now. Just now. So I was looking at people in the fifth floor saying that you guys don't have enough time and you don't have enough incentives to engage in research. And I got some pushback all the way to the point that I had to name a department where there's no research. And I did. So people got uneasy about that. But so it's fine.
so when you say, truth can bother people sometimes. You can't hide it.
You know. So specifically mention the fact that we have to have incentives in place. So when you're doing research, you're not doing something else, and you should have an incentive that's attached to that. I also mentioned that we have to have time, protected time for research. Not everybody should be doing research, but those who are engaged in research should have protected time. So let's see what happens.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. Okay, so ready to go?
No.
Okay, so just to let you know, we're recording this session via Google Hangout. So
Okay.
I'm gonna edit what you said.
That's fine.
Not to get you in trouble. But I'm gonna send the link so they can, because I'm gonna go quick into steps and they can always refer back to the video. Okay? We need that information.
First one. Not tell you.
For department. All right. So what we did in the last group was basically talk about efficient use of PubMed. I've incorporated another tool that's Google Scholar that in my opinion has gotten really, really good in locating a lot of resources and information. So I'm going to give you a couple of tools that will be probably useful in building up your own libraries. One of the things that we can also talk about down the road, if you guys wish, is talk about EndNote integration with your databases, that the use of EndNote. We can also do a session on that.
Yeah, because I don't know how to use EndNote at all.
So we can do that, and we can work out the schedule, and doesn't have to be on Wednesday. Whatever you guys want to do, it's fine.
You're just trying to get another free lunch.
That's exactly right. It's my motivation.
Yeah.
You were talking about motivation before,
Incentives.
right?
I'll buy you lunch.
Incentives. So we can do that as well. So the first thing I would recommend is that you guys create an NCBI profile. It's for free, and it's gonna help y'all have your own account with PubMed. Anybody familiar what PubMed is? Do I have to go over? So good. Library of Science of the Congress, right? Biggest database of scientific literature, right? So when you go my NCBI, you should be able to create your own profile. As you can see, I already have my own profile in here, and you can link it to your institution. You can link it also to your Google account. You can link it to different services that are linked. The good thing about nowadays, it wasn't the case in the past, is that nowadays pretty much everything is linked and integrated. You just have to you have linked accounts in here. So I have Google ERA login. This is Archive, which is the identification number for investigators that the Europeans use in some of the publishing materials. So that's that. I would encourage you. It's all free.
It's becoming mandatory.
Yeah. So it's free. You just create your profile. You get a number. You're done.
Okay.
So I can also help you out with that. It's all for free. So it's all fun. It's all good. Okay. So one thing about what I like about my NCBI is that you can save your searches and you can have them automated so they can update as frequently as you want. So I like this because if you're framing to a specific topic and you want to be the first one to know something came up, PubMed will send you an alert. I will tell you there's a new paper in your specific search terms that came up, and you're going to get an email. So you'll see your papers coming up for the first time. You'll see your colleagues' papers coming up for the first time, as long as you use the right filters and search terms, so you can create your own collections. So it's good because not only maintains your library up to date, it also helps you all maintain up to date. So if you're really interested in a specific topic and you want to be the best versed person in your department regarding that topic, well, it will be a good tool for you to know what's the latest coming up. So you don't have to do a manual search. You just get an email, and you can get it on a daily basis. You can get it on a weekly basis. You can set all these tools up for your convenience. So as you can see here, I had my former mentor. I had T-Rex and periodontal disease. I like to Google myself, so I have myself. So when I publish a paper, and it's on PubMed, I get an alert that my paper is published, so I have my own filters. I have other researchers, Chris, I have other topics that I've worked in the past, right? You can also link your own bibliography. So as you can see here, these are my items that have been confirmed as papers from my authorship. So as an author, I've been double checked, and you can also create your bibliography. When you submit grants to NIH, you have to do that because that's what they're using to link your production to an NIH grant. So now it has become mandatory to do that part. Okay, recent activities, searches. So it's a very good tool, very free. Just create your NCBI profile and you're done. Okay. So the way you create it, go to my NCBI, and like I said, you can create your own account with your email, or you can link your Google account if you want. Or there's some institutions that allow you to link your institutional profile. I don't know if back then GRU had it. I'm not sure if Augusta University had it. We'll have to check on one of your computers. I can be here if you guys want to try and see if they're allowing integration with the university. But back then when I did it, they didn't have it. I highly doubt it they have it now. Okay. So now let's search PubMed. So do you want to start with a topic of your interest? You want to give me a topic that you're thinking about doing? Bone filling?
Bulk.
A bulk.
Filling.
Okay, bulk, fill. And should we say composite?
So this is exactly how you do it.
Yeah,
In your
so,
own profile, right?
well, I already linked it, so I'm logged in under my profile. But you can do this search without being logged in. The advantage of this is that you can create, all your information, all your activity is gonna be logged in and saved.
So what you do is you establish your area of interest.
Mm-hmm.
Bulk, composites, in human studies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you save it as he has done with all those items on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ask the PubMed to repeat it every week.
Mm-hmm.
So every week you get all the latest papers on that subject.
It does the search for you automatically. Okay. So let's say that this is a search, just like it is, you're getting 151. Do you want to filter out the information in terms of the type of publications, the date range? You have all
Human
these filters.
studies.
Okay, that's the human studies. So in PubMed on the left, like I said, I'm recording this so you guys can always come back to the video. So I'm going to go really quick on where the things are, okay? So for example, in here, you can say show. It's going to show you different additional filters, article tabs, publications, subjects.
You have species right there.
The species right here. So this is we're gonna be able to use those filters, and then in here we're gonna say just humans, right? So I've applied one filter. You see here, filters activated right here, humans, and it still is 151. So
No, now we're just 42.
oh, now it's just 41. You're right. Yeah, that's 42. It used to be 51, 151. Okay. I still will be careful with filters though as you're approaching a topic, because many times when people index this information, they can screw it up, and for example, they can use human teeth in vitro, but it's not a human study. But are you interested in human teeth in vitro?
I think
No, he's not.
no, we're not,
Okay.
because we're gonna do it on patients.
Right now he's not. He wants to know what's the state of the art of clinical applications
Right.
of this new.
Fair enough. But just to let you know, just check out the information before it gets filtered, because you may be surprised. The filters are not like 100% efficient. They're good, but they're not 100% efficient. Okay? All right. Other things that you can link for is clinical trials, systematic reviews, and things like that, and they will come up in additional filters in article types. If I get to click on it, I don't know why the resolution is so weird. But
It's
anyway.
your computer.
I guess so. Not the TV, right? Okay. All right. Good. So let's say, are we interested in any other additional filter?
Yes, clinical trials.
Okay. So let's go here. Clinical trial.
Could we use?
Only 3.
So we're gonna be famous, man.
Adding it.
The one in front of
And Rugaber is one of them.
Okay.
Okay. And only one of them has like bulk fill words in the title. Okay. Okay. Any other filter, or we stick with those? Okay. So now we're gonna say here send to, and we are gonna say collections.
Okay.
Right here. Okay. So add to collections. So what would I like to do? Create a new collection? Yes, I'm going to create a new collection. Or I can append to an existing one, right? and enter a name for your collection. So Mario. Oh,
Okay,
well,
okay.
Mario's. It's just a name, right?
Okay.
Bulk fill. Okay, and save. Wi-Fi. Work with me.
So this is the one that you're talking about, that it automatically gets saved to your profile, and then
I'm gonna
you
show you where
go ahead and-
where it lies, and then how you can set it up. So
Okay.
your collection was saved. So I'm gonna edit my collection. So it's right here, right?
Mhm.
So I can make it public and share it with people. I can edit settings, right? I can create a URL to be shared. Right now it's private. Okay, save.
Now let me ask you a question. We have access to these articles right now because we're using the university URL. Because PubMed sometimes doesn't let you see the whole article.
So what we're doing right now is identifying the papers.
Okay.
We haven't gotten so far into
Okay.
downloading the papers. Okay. Good. I'm gonna come back to see all collections.
But you see how fast you can narrow it
Yes,
down,
yes.
right?
Mhm.
So, you really are interested in something with a clinical application most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use, 3 or 4 nice keywords, most of the time you narrow it down to very few papers.
Right.
If you go over the 151, you'll be tired before you even are halfway through,
All
right?
right.
Mm-hmm. Good. So if you come back to your profile, what I gotta do is my NCBI. That's where your collections right here, save searches and collections.
So
Okay.
you're gonna look for my name there.
So you should be here, exactly. So manage collections. Marius Bookville. Okay.
Mhm.
So these are your collections. Now, when you want to continue to do searches, you got to go to save searches. So we're going to come back to my NCBI, manage save searches. And then in here, let's come back to my NCBI. Let's go PubMed again. So I'm just going to go quick, bulk fill. So I can come back to advanced. I'm going to see all the searches that I've done so far in here listed, right?
Mhm.
All the things that you've done, they tell you what the number of the search was and how many items were found. Okay,
Oh, that's the order.
right. And then in here, I think they recently changed this because it used to be a save search in this button over here. File, collections, order, citation, clipboard, email, and my bibliography.
I think clipboard might be the same. But
Yeah, you can send it. What you can do is, let's see here, send it to your clipboard.
So the clipboards like this, let's say that you looked at the 150 citations you got there, right? And then you go, yeah, number 1 is good, number 2 is good, number 10 is good. You go clicking
Clipping
and
it.
you save in the clipboard.
Ah.
So it means that you are
Mhm.
sending all this that you are selecting to the clipboard. I don't know why it's not showing a small
Right.
little box on the left, but it
Right.
should show a small little box on the left there,
Right.
so that you can click. And that's how we do this kind of search when we are going to do, a lit review.
Mm-hmm.
You go with your more focused search like this. So you found 3 papers. To me, it seems that the only one is good. I click there. I
Mm-hmm.
save it to the clipboard. And then when I go to that paper, I ask, can you click there?
In collections or in
On
clipboard?
the paper, on randomized 3-year
This
clinical.
one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what I wanted to do, right? Then I go to see all similar articles. You see right there?
Mhm.
See all
Oh.
or see reviews.
Oh, right there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden you start having, papers that have the same kind. Just a sec.
Mhm.
They have the same keywords that this one had. So right now I already figured out that there's a posterior bulk field resin composite restoration 5-year randomized clinical trial that didn't show up in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I would click there.
On that article then?
Yeah. Can you click in the article?
In this one.
Yeah. Nice. That's exactly what I want. Send it to the clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have 3 plus 1, 4.
Send
And
to
as you go through
clipboard.
all of this, at the end of that search, you just go to your clipboard and you see how many papers you have selected. Maybe you can throw them out, some out, keep others, whatever you want to do. And that's how you do it.
And how do you go to your clipboard right now to see what you have on the clipboard?
Is right here.
Okay, I got you.
But you can also, if you want something more permanent, you can create your own collection.
Yeah, sure.
So the clipboard is basically a temporary place for you to access, but it clears out after 8 hours of inactivity.
Mm.
Whereas the collection, after you create your own profile, you have your own collection, so it's safer.
Okay. And
You
it
get
stays there.
it stays there.
Clipboard is not updated, but the collections is updated.
That's correct. So the clipboard
You
is
have
like
to
a
do
quick
it
look,
yourself.
and some people don't like to create profiles, so they don't have access to the collections.
Some people are not so well organized and they don't have a
Right.
profile.
Yeah, I don't have a profile, and I always use this. I didn't even know that you can make a profile. I just found out today.
You need it.
Right. Anyway, in here, there used to be a button here as Save Search, and I'm not seeing it. They've removed it, and that's the tool I was telling you about. They will make your own, automate your own searches. But I don't know why I don't see it in here. I see file collections, order, citation manager, clipboard, email, and my bibliography. My bibliography is the collection of your own papers.
Okay.
So I'm gonna owe you that one because I'm not seeing how I can get to my saved searches like you see in here. Last search 2 days ago. Manage saved searches. So this is the ones that I have. But it's not letting me do new ones. So I'm gonna have to write to this the help desk or find out that one. I'll find out. Save, because I'm not seeing from the PubMed search the link button that I used to see before. So I'll find out. Okay. It is puzzling because it was very easy. Advanced. These are the searches we did. Let's go with this one. Okay, it says create alert. Okay, I think that's what they did. They created, now they call it an alert.
Okay.
Apparently. So let's come back to the one that Mario liked with the one filter. So we're gonna go this one, right? Bulk fix clinical trial. So this is the search that we liked, this one. Okay. So if they come up with bulk field composite clinical trial in humans, you should get an alert. So you're gonna create an alert. So bulk field composite search terms right there, your filters activated. Would you like email updates in your new search results? Yes, please. They're gonna send me an email. How often? I want it weekly. Which day? I work on Sundays. Send it to me on Sunday 8 a.m. in the morning. Okay, how do you want it? You want the abstract? You want the summary? I usually go abstract. How many items? Send me 100 new ones or 10 new ones, whatever. Any text you want to add at the top of your email. You lazy bum, go work. And then you're gonna get this.
This looks like exactly what Mario should do. Everything there seems perfect.
Change your email before they start bouncing back.
Yes.
Oh, it's GRE.
Okay. And then I created that alert, so I'm gonna get also those emails. And if I come here to my NCBI, now the logic thing is that it appears on my PubMed searches. So they just changed the name. That was the issue that was having. So let's search today, and it's all set up. So you can create all the topics you want, all the things, and then it will keep you up to date. It will send you an email.
And what if you want to delete that search now? You don't want it.
If you're tired of that, you can go manage save searches, and you can go here, and I guess you click on it and delete.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
if you want to delete something that you didn't.
Don't want
That you're
anymore.
tired and want to get anymore. So mostly I do weekly updates, and because the search terms are so specific, I only get one hit every month or so. So you don't want to get like a lot of alerts or emails. Just make sure that you search them, like Dr. Susan explained, filtered and very specific to a topic you're interested in.
So probably when you're starting your project, you really don't have a lot of knowledge of the subject itself. You're probably going to do a regular search, right? And you're going to go over the 151 and all of that, right? Once you have gained enough knowledge in that area, probably the only thing you have to do is to have, a monthly update on whatever came out, so that, you're up to date and you're not, doing exactly the same thing that someone has already published on, or that you are not going to forget to include a very important paper that was just published because you're going to submit, for publication. So, first you do your regular search, and then you just do what, Roger is showing you, and that keeps you up to date. Because as you are doing your research project, right, it's going to take a little bit of time, so you are up to date with what's going on.
That's right. Okay. Now, getting the papers. Okay, this is getting the information and knowing what's out there in the library. Now, getting the papers, it's another process. Okay, so one of the things that you notice is that some papers, like for example, we come back to that search we did, right? And then you get to the paper over here. So you say, okay, this is a paper, I need full text. Okay, and this is a perfect example actually. So you have quintessence, and you sort of get the feeling the library here doesn't pay for quintessence. Okay, but let's show it. So let's demonstrate it. So it has a full text link over in this area always. Okay, so you're gonna go here, and this is the paper. So we're gonna go and find the PDF, access not granted. And why is that? Right now we are connected in the GRU network, right, or Augusta University network, right? So the computer is detecting we are like behind a firewall. And the computer is detecting because of IP identification, because they know we are asking this information from Augusta University, right? They're saying your institution is not giving you access to this paper. So you don't have access to it under this network. Okay? But there are different ways to go around it if you want to get a paper, okay? There's interlibrary loan that I can explain to you. There's also emailing the author that sometimes they're willing to share. Or sometimes what I've found out is this little button over here, Google Scholar. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. But first, I'm gonna move to Google Scholar here. So you go to your browser, and now we're gonna just get out from PubMed, and we're just gonna Google Scholar in here. So Google Scholar, it's also a nice way to keep up with your own collections, libraries, and things like that. You can create a profile link to your Gmail account, and it also gives you citation records. Like for example, you can see here my citations. You can create your own profile, verify your email, and then it will link. Thank you. It will link all the information of your papers, co-authors, citation indexes, and all that. So you can also make this public, and people can find you. So Google Scholar is your own. You have all these websites like ResearchGate, and what's the other one? Archive, yeah, all those stuff. I mean, I'm a freak about this, so I create always all profiles and all that. So I'm doing all this all the time. But in here, they have a pretty nice tool on your Google Scholar account that is my library. And your library, you can actually come to your library and you can go, let me see if it's under here. Okay. Actually, your settings. And in your settings, once you get in your settings from your Google or Scholar account, you can get library links. Okay? And in your library links, you can actually find the university links attached to it. So basically, you tell them, I want to have access to whatever is linked to the GRU library. And in here is still the library at GRU. I'm going to go Augusta University just to try and see if they came up with new filters. No. They have Maine and Augusta. That's the one they have. So it's still Georgia regions. So basically, I'm clicking these ones over here, right? So let's say I'm going to come back to Google Scholar and we're going to search exactly the same terms that you did before. Bulk, fill, composite. Now, this is Google. And Google is creating a tool that is going to try to pick whatever scientific literature is related to that. But it's not as a good filter as PubMed is, okay? PubMed is the best resource to really find the information you need. But because Google has so much information, they've created their own filters, you should be able to pick up really, really interesting stuff, okay? So let's go here. So in here, you have this amount of results. You have too much crap in there. Of course, you have too much crap in there, but you can also filter it out and see what you can get out of it, okay? So for example, in this one, let's say I got interested in this one. You see the link over here? Mm-hmm. So you click Finder at GRU. And then what's going on right now is that Google is using the GRU plugin to call the paper under the GRU library so you have access. Brought to you by Augusta University. So that's just what happened. In this way, Google Scholar is basically connecting you.
You could just download the PDF.
And now, because you were identified as Augusta University, you should be able to download the PDF.
But do you have to sign in when you set up the very first time, the username, password?
That's correct. If you are on campus, you don't have to.
Right.
If you are outside campus, like from your home, it's gonna direct you to a firewall, like an easy proxy, they call it. Mm-hmm. And you do your credentials, mm-hmm. and then you should be able to download from your home. Mm-hmm. And then you have your paper over here, okay? And then there's another thing new in Google Scholar that I'm very excited about.
Are you being paid by that?
No, okay. But they make my life easier, so I gotta be grateful. Google.
Why did Google Scholar show so many articles that PubMed did show so little?
Because PubMed is filtered for people that officially register the papers over there, whereas Google is giving you every crap that is out there in their servers.
So what Google Scholar is really good at is finding abstracts that have been presented in meetings, for instance. PubMed completely ignores that.
Right.
Google Scholar can find that.
Right. So one tool that I found really nice is this button tool. And basically what's going to create is a little button on your browser to immediately pick up papers that you're looking at under PubMed. So you see this little button over here? That's the Google Scholar button. In here, the Scholar button for your browser, you just have to save it. It has like an installation package, so we have to do it on each individual computer because it's different from Mac and from Windows. So it's a little bit different, but I can help you out get it installed. I already have installed, so I cannot show you that, but I can show you how you can use it. So you see this paper over here, right? Click on the Google Scholar button, and it automatically will tell you the location of the PDF versions and all that. And it will link to your library as well. So you see what happening here. I'm going to do it again. I'm under PubMed. I'm not under Google Scholar right now. Look, I'm under PubMed, but I'm using the bottom as a way to identify papers that cross-match with Google Scholar. So I go like this, and then I'm getting. And what I like that I found very interesting, you have 7 versions in here of things that are linking to that paper. So we saw that we didn't have the PDF version access of it. So I'm gonna click in here. Look what happened. It just gave me it just gave me access. So remember when I did it under the library, I didn't have any access? Google Scholar identified the PDF. Don't ask me how, don't ask me what the hell is going on.
No questions.
No question asked, but
Got it.
under the library, I didn't have access. And now I just downloaded the paper for you. Now you see why I'm excited about that tool. That's why you see I love the people at Google.
How do institutes decide that this paper will not be added into their PubMed or what? I mean,
They just don't pay the
Money.
licenses for
Oh,
the
Money.
No. The process is like this. Once you start a new journal, or you have a journal that has been going on for some time, you have to show for 3 years that you have an X number of papers that have been published on a regular basis. And regular basis here means that it has been published on 3 or 4 issues that year, the following year.
Oh, okay.
And once you go through that process, the journal is going to be indexed. Most of the time, there are other things that you have to do to make sure that you are indexed, but the publisher is the one that indexes the journal. And then everything that's published in that journal is going to be indexed in PubMed. Of course, it depends on the publisher to send that information to PubMed.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get a paper that is accepted for publication, the publisher gets the information, the abstract, and the authors and title and all that, and sends it to PubMed. So it's not your decision. You don't have your
Right.
paper index or not.
I have that button on my computer. You download it for me one time, so I do have it.
Yeah, I show you to use it before.
No, now that I'm learning how to use it, I've used it before one time that we were looking for some papers, but we were doing it together. So when you do it with somebody else, he's doing everything. You're just looking. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you have to do it yourself to get it, to get used to it.
So for example, let's come back to those searches we were doing before. I'm gonna go for the one that gave us a bunch of papers. So there's a long list of papers in here. I'm gonna try the Google Scholar button because there is so much information, it's not filtering out the information I need. Let me just plug in here really quick. Okay, but let's say that, for example, I'm in this list and I say, oh, this paper is interesting, right? So I'm gonna highlight it. And once highlighted, I'm gonna press the Google Scholar button. Okay? So automatically it didn't give me access to the PDF version, but it's telling me you may have a log finding a GRU. So I'm gonna click find a GRU. It's contacting the UGA proxy server.
Right. There.
We have access. You can download it.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm doing some piracy here.
This one we actually paying for it, but you'll find some others that are pirate, definitely pirate, because Google Scholar is linking their access. That may be because their authors are posting it on their own websites, and Google Scholar picks it up.
Yeah.
The thing with Google is that they have all this information.
Yeah,
Whatever you have in a browser, they know it.
Right, they call these crawlers, and that gets
That's
everything.
exactly right. That's
What?
exactly right.
Crawlers.
Crawlers, web
Man.
crawlers. Mm-hmm.
It goes
That's a term.
everywhere.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, this one, highlight, press Google Scholar button. You have HTML version. You can also find it at GRU. Right? Now, Google Scholar, when you're doing, so Google Scholar is good to pinpoint those resources you want. But if you're doing searches like we were doing before in Google Scholar, you are going to have a lot of crap in there. So you have to be very careful because like we did before, right? Bulk, flow, composite, more than 300,000 hits. So you still get the PDF version, you still have the links for the library. But other thing that I like, that I've discovered, is that for each specific paper, you have what they call versions. And basically, these are links that are related to that specific paper. So sometimes you don't see the PDF listed in here, but when you go all 15 versions, for example, in here, this is a great example of what I'm trying to say here. Look that the PDF is being searched on ResearchGate. So the PDF is being shared with people via ResearchGate, which sometimes is not legal, but sometimes people do it. You click on it, you're gonna get the paper.
Well, let me tell you something. Yesterday, I had a paper that I published at the JPD last year. And you know, they send you a letter saying that if you do this, you go to jail for the rest of your life and everything like that. So I have a personal webpage and I put it on my webpage. And I actually have, if you want to get into my webpage, you have to log in and access it. You not that you just free around in there. So I had it there and I got an email from JPD yesterday. I thought it was an email saying that I was going to go to jail. Well, the email was saying that they have decided to publish my paper in Facebook. They have now a Facebook page, which everybody can access. You don't even have to have the journal. And now they have my article highlighted on their Facebook page that everybody can click on
and download.
And download the paper directly from their
So
webpage.
maybe they figure out if you're putting on your website, why don't we make it different for everybody else?
I don't
No,
know.
they're all journals now are trying to showcase papers.
As a way to attract
So
viewers.
even Journal of Clinical Paleontology now has, you know, the picture of the issue, like, you know.
But they had the video publication.
Or
as
video,
well.
whatever. They're all trying to showcase research that's
They're using social media to get
Whatever.
people to
and because they have the copyright to your paper.
Right.
You actually don't have the copyright.
Right, I know.
They can do whatever they feel like.
Right.
Okay. So there are other tools to link the PubMed libraries to your institution. Last time I checked here, you didn't have those filters active. So as long as you are inside campus, it's easier to use PubMed without Google Scholar. If you're outside campus, I found it to be best to use Google Scholar links, because in that way you can find either the access to your GRU library account or get PDF versions of it for free. And it's getting better and better every time. I'm amazed about it.
I didn't know about Google Scholar.
And the button has made it, because what I used to do in the past was copy, go Google Scholar, paste. Now with that button, it's just right there.
Yeah, I came from NYU. NYU still give you access to the library.
Oh wow, as an
Their
alumni?
data bank is amazing. I till date, I think maybe 1 or 2 local journals. If I couldn't get it, something from Europe or something from Australia.
So if you Google Scholar, you can find the NYU link.
I can pull that out and then log it.
But in order for you to be able to use those links, you have to be associated with that university.
Because they're going to ask for your
The
credentials.
username and password, you have to put it.
Okay. All right.
And NYU access is way better than GRU's, I bet.
NYU is almost like 10 times better than
Yeah, GRU has a very crappy access. They don't
Yes,
have a
I
lot of
know.
money to
I
pay
think
for
at
libraries.
one point we were missing some, so I emailed them from here, so I don't have access. They just signed up for them.
And they, you know, they do get them for you. Last year I was writing a paper and I needed some articles to review, and I couldn't find them, and I emailed them, and they said, yeah, we can get them for you, but they charge me like $5 per page.
And that's interlibrary loan.
Right.
And I've used it a couple of times, especially for like classic
and my
papers.
department has paid for it. So
Old papers.
Old classic
old
papers.
ones, right.
But this looks really good.
Yeah, this is really
You know, you not only are looking at what you have available through the university, but also whatever is available
Everywhere.
in the web.
Right.
Right. Now, one thing we can show them is clinical queries, maybe.
Sure.
We still have some minutes.
Yeah, PubMed is one of the data banks, right, to use it. We used to use a lot of Ovid Medline.
Yeah. Oh, it was like the competition from Europe to PubMed.
PubMed.
It's still out there, and we have access via the library, but
It's very clunky. That's my.
I don't recommend it.
I was more trained on Ovid than PubMed.
Right.
So for me, if you have to look something, so I just put it in and then combine.
Right. But Google Scholar links Ovid, so you can use Ovid on the Google Scholar. Okay. Okay. One thing that it's also good to know about PubMed is that you can search for clinical queries. Let me see here.
And what does that mean? Clinical queries.
So clinical queries is basically a site to search specific clinical information regarding studies regarding all clinical trials.
Only clinical trials.
It's more directed towards randomized clinical trials.
Okay.
So it's already filtered out for systematic reviews, meta-analysis, and clinical trials. This is more like evidence-based level 1 and 2. Okay, so for example, let's say here, bulk fill composite. So they explain here, you can search for etiology, diagnosis, therapy, prognosis, and clinical prediction guides. This is pretty common to use when people work like in large-scale clinical trials, or for example, cancer clinical trials and all that. This is a very good tool to filter out the information. In dentistry, there are some topics that still works pretty fine. This is what people use to identify papers for a systematic review or a Cochrane review and things like that. It's just an additional service that PubMed uses to filter out the information you have access to, but it's only related to clinical trials or systematic reviews of clinical trials or meta-analysis of clinical trials.
So let me just make one comment right there. So look at this. You're starting to look into a subject area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the very first thing is to look at is systematic reviews and meta-analysis, because that gives you a broad overview of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, Roger did a search, and if you look there, you have a 2015 critical appraisal bulk fill composites. So that should be the very first paper you're going to read, because up to that day, everything that has been published on this issue that is important to you is right there in that paper.
All right.
So that saves you a lot of time.
What a critical appraisal. That means that they're reviewing the literature.
Mm-hmm.
This is a systematic review, right? So this guy, he made a systematic review.
He's from UNC, I think.
Yeah, so
Swift, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
So he did a systematic review of the literature on bulk fill composites. So that's your start point right there.
Right. And because we filter out in the first search to clinical trials, it didn't show up.
Yeah.
Because we didn't filter for reviews, we filtered for clinical
So
trials.
right, what you did, could you go back one?
Yeah.
So what you did right now is that you click that button and click critical appraisal.
We
Clinical,
went.
clinical, what is it that called?
Let me go.
Queries.
Okay, so you click on clinical queries.
Yeah, you go PubMed.
Right.
Let me see here, and then let me start again. So you just see it. PubMed.com.
Let me give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
I have to write. I'm writing a paper that is a position paper for the academy. Okay, and I have to write about 12 diseases. There is no way in hell I have time to review every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? Oh, rheumatic arthritis. I mean, I don't have time to review all the literature on, that relates that disease to periodontitis. What I do is arthritis and periodontitis and systematic review. Boom, 2 or 3 papers come up. I look at the one that was published,
The recent one,
the most recent one,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my start point. Right? So that's how you really save a lot of time. Imagine, you can go through 151 papers, or you can look at the latest systematic review on that specific issue.
Right, you
That
have all the
saves,
information.
that saves you a lot of time. It doesn't mean that you're going to stop there, but that's a very good start point.
Right, okay. So
Exactly
now we go
right.
to clinical queries.
So you have PubMed. Instead of searching here, you're gonna go clinical queries.
Okay.
And this is the same PubMed. It's just that Baseline has some filters associated to clinical trials that you don't even have to click. They're all ready for you to go. Okay. So bulk fill, composite, search, and then you're getting clinical study categories. You're getting 26 under these filters.
Okay.
Systematic
And
reviews.
those
You're getting
filters are
2.
automatic in there already. Right?
You didn't choose them because you're doing a clinical query
Okay.
search. Okay. And then medical genetics, it doesn't have any information in here. So you can search for different types because this works. So for example, when you're doing like PICO, remember I showed you PICO searches?
Mhm.
So you can search for specific topics in terms of etiology papers, therapy papers, diagnosis papers, prognosis papers, and so on. So in here, let's say it's all about therapy, right? And then it's
And
automatically.
there's actually 2 critical appraisals, but one is 13 and the other one is 15.
Yeah. And this is Ricardo Walter. He's also at UNC.
Yeah.
This is Patricia's husband.
So right now you have, a very good start point, right? Out of the batch, you have a systematic review that was published in 2015, the other one, and you have at least 2 randomized clinical trials that have been published. GICAN, right there, the 5-year, and then there was another one that is 3 years. That's probably down the road. So right now, if you look at a systematic review in 2 or 3 clinical trials on the subject that you're interested, all of a sudden, in 2 hours, you can be really up to date on that subject.
Yeah.
And you know already what has been studied, what has not been studied, what are the gaps that you can try to, focus on for your own research. Because let's say that, your idea was what this guy did, GICAN. Oh man, he has a 5-year study. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to replicate his study? That's probably not publishable. Unless you want to do a 10-year follow-up. And then you're going to wait 10 years for your first publication. That's not doable, right? So you go to the systematic review, look at the latest, clinical trials, and find a gap. Once you found that gap, that's what your research is going to be.
And I just click on the Google Scholar button, and it just picked up automatically.
Now let me tell you something. I have right now, this is a good question for Roger as well. Right now, I am reviewing. I just read a paper that the JPD sent
the patient
to me
is here
to review.
Around my way, okay? Bye. Faculty practice. I'm sorry, guys,
no,
but you can go ahead really quick.
And so if you have this paper that you need to review for somebody else, because you're saying, oh, if they already did that, why are you going to do the same thing? Well, I've seen in the literature many papers published on one specific topic, and all the papers have, basically they've done the same thing. Now, how do you decide then what to work on? If I notice that many people work on one topic and they do research basically the same as other people have done, and they just kind of review and then they start doing their work, why do they get published? And why is it a bad idea to do it and people are doing it?
So that's more, the decision of the editor, right?
Okay.
So the editor looks at the journal, and it goes like, well, we haven't had a publication on this specific issue in the last 2 or 3 years. So maybe the journal has an interest, right?